One of the biggest mistakes I see people make when they want to come into the fashion industry or start a clothing line in the fashion industry is not starting their clothing line. A lot of times people don't start their clothing lines because they don't have the money at the time, or they're just waiting on funds, or they don't have the resources. Well, today on this episode, I'm going to tell you why starting a clothing line right now with no money and no product is the best time to start a clothing line. So let's discuss next here on Making the Brand. Rob Norman here from Planet Brooklyn Academy Clothing Company, and this is Making the Brand, the series where I give you a little insight and knowledge on how to start a clothing line, and if you already have one, how to make it better. Before we get things started, please hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with everything we drop when it drops. Okay, so you're probably saying to yourself, look, Rob, I don't have any money, so how am I supposed to start a clothing line? If I don't have money, then I don't have any product. Well, that's the misconception. You do have a product. Your product is your clothing line, your company. That is your first product you need to sell. Now, I've been in the fashion industry 20 plus years, but before I came into fashion, I started off in advertising. And in advertising, there were two concepts that I took from that and brought into my fashion background. The first one being is that when you're working with a product or a brand, whatever your consumer sees or believes, that is because that is what you want them to see and believe. Everything hinges on the concept of what you give them the idea to believe. People do not know your clothing brand right now. If you haven't started it, they don't know who you are. So what they perceive your brand to be is what you want them to see. So if you want to be perceived as a big company, you can be that. You want to be independent, you want to be international, whatever the image is that you paint for them is what they're going to see. They don't know that you don't have any product. They don't know that you don't have any money. So you want to paint the picture and tell the story of what you want them to believe your actual product is. So once you put that out, that's how you build your brand. That's the first thing. So again, your first product is your actual brand. You're going to build that before you even come up with any product. So let's take, for an example, scenario one, what you normally would have done. You'll say, well, I'm going to get some money for my tax returns, and I'm going to get that money in about 6 months. So you're going to wait 6 months till you get your money. Then when you get your money, you're going to go and then get your designer, or you're going to design your graphics or whatever you need, and then you're going to put it into production. Then when you get your production, then you're going to do your photo shoot. And once you get your photo shoot, you're going to start marketing it, and then you're going to start selling the product. So from this moment to the time you get your money, to the time you start selling it, it could be a year. So you're talking about a year away. Now, scenario two, if you do from what I said, you can now start from day one. I know I don't have money for 6 months coming. I'm going to start right now marketing my concept. Now, this is where the second idea from advertising comes into play. Now, if you ever notice how with movies and with networks, they always promote the movies and TV shows months way in advance before they actually come out. Some movies, when you watch them, you'll see a trailer a year before the movie actually comes out. And sometimes they're still filming the movie, but you've already seen the trailer. Why is that? That's because they're trying to build hype around whatever that product or project is that they're working on. They're building hype for it. Because as you get closer to the release date, you start seeing more material come out about that. And now suddenly there's a huge frenzy for it. And then when the movie drops, everybody's there. Television networks. You see what happens for the fall network season back in the summer. And you're wondering why they're telling you about these new shows. But you start seeing more information about the new shows as you get closer to the fall season. So when it comes on, you're ready to watch it. Everybody's tuned in. Everybody's talking about it. This is something we do in advertising. And this was a concept I brought with me into fashion. Now, it's not something new. It's not something that I invented or started in fashion, because the bigger fashion brands actually do this. It's the smaller fashion houses that don't do it that I wish they would do this. So your Nikes of the world, your Adidas of the world, they all do it. Take, for example, Nike, why is it that maybe it could be March, but we already know what Nike's dropping in October of that year for their releases for Jordan sneakers? Why is that? Because they know to build hype. So those sneakers aren't ready to be released yet. They're still being worked on. So, but they know we got to start the hype now. So they start putting out information about the sneakers. You start seeing things on blogs. And as you get closer and closer to the release dates, what happens? You start seeing everybody talking about it online, and suddenly when the sneakers release, there's a frenzy. Suddenly sneakers are being, you can't get them anywhere. The price is really high for resale, everything. They built hype around that. Now, you look at someone like Supreme. Supreme doesn't do that. Supreme, you normally find out about a Supreme release at the max, maybe a month before it drops. You'll know that there's something coming, but they never do a long stretch of marketing for their product. They only do very short, and most of those streetwear brands tell you stuff like either right when it's released or maybe a couple of weeks to a month before. They never build a hype around it. And when they do release, that's when you start seeing ads and campaigns for it outside of the blogs. But if you did that and started taking on the same concept as, say, a movie industry or a network, you will build more hype that you can move product a lot faster when it does come out. So let's just say your brand you're starting today is brand X. And again, you don't have any money. You're not gonna have money for 6 months, and you don't have any product. Again, the product is your brand. So with brand X, what you're gonna do is you're gonna start hitting your social media up with images related to what brand X is. And let's just say brand X, we're gonna use in social media things related to X. Or we can take photography that is related to what our concept is for our brand. And what we'll do is we'll put an X over the images, a transparent X. When that starts showing up in social media, people will start seeing it and wondering like, wow, this is great photography or very interesting photography, but why is there X over every image? I'm not understanding what that is. And people are gonna keep tuning in to try to figure out what it is. Maybe you do another campaign where it says shirt times person equals brand X. Now people start to get an idea that, all right, brand X must be a clothing line. Stickers are very cheap. You can start, placing stickers everywhere around and just start changing the colors month by month so that people know that these are new stickers, not the same old ones they've been seeing for months, but they're a new colorway. So those are going up. You're doing all of this while you're building hype. Your website, you may not have product, but you can do a countdown on your screen and have a great tagline to the countdown to whatever's happening. In the background, you could be developing your website. All of this is a mystery for people. And what we call this is smoke and mirrors. Because all we're doing basically, we're getting people to believe things and we're making them look over here when really stuff is happening over here. And then we're making them look over here when stuff is really happening here. So the whole idea is to keep them guessing and wondering what's going on. In the background, you are just buying yourself time. So you can spend 6 months until you get that money. And what happens? For 6 months, you've been working on your campaign to release this line. When you finally get your money, you can actually do pre-orders because everybody now knows what this brand is. When you drop it with Photoshop, you can now superimpose graphics on shirts. So you can do that while your clothing is in production. And now get pre-orders because now you still don't need physical product. People now see it, they're ordering it. So if you did your marketing right, you should have a following. And these people now want to pre-order from you. So now you're getting money up front. You still haven't dropped the first product yet. You have no tangible product. Everybody's buying everything based on the sole concept of an idea. So once you have your product and you're able to ship it, now you can start working on your next season. Notice what just happened. In this scenario, what I gave you, we did all this in 6 months. And in the very first scenario, where you wanted to wait 6 months before you started anything, it took a year before you actually had any product created. And then you were trying to market it to get people into it. The problem a lot of people have when they're starting their clothing lines is they think everything has to be so linear. You do not have to be so secular with everything you do. Like everything doesn't have to be succinct. You don't have to follow one thing after another. It doesn't have to be that way. You can do things disjointedly to get to the same goal. So just because you're supposed to, get your clothing made and then do your photo shoot, you don't have to do it in that order. So the order that we just did, we put our marketing in front before we had the product, and we built it up so that once we had the product, we can move the product faster instead of getting product and then trying to wait and push that product. Because if you do it the way I just described it to you, you probably can move that product a lot faster and jump into your next season and work on that faster and build that instead of waiting to say like, oh, I still got this product, I have to push this for another year. So use the concept of just the same way the movie industry works. If you use that concept, it allows you to build hype for your brand. I do it with my clothing brand. At the time of the taping of this video, we're about 3 months out to the World Cup for 2022. And we've already started seeding the market with our, concepts of marketing for the World Cup, for our World Cup release. So we started very slowly with little, hints here and there, and we're gonna start ramping it up in the next month to just really push the brand. But I'm still in production with my clothing. I don't have any tangible items right now, but I do have samples coming and I already have the marketing plan done. So we're pushing that, building hype. Next month, we start releasing the actual images of the clothing. After that, we start doing the shoots and putting out the shoots. By the time we have everything done, the clothing will be hitting the stores. People will want it because I've done all the marketing work already. So I don't have to sit there and try to do marketing while trying to sell clothes at the same time, all right? You wanna work smarter, not harder. And that's what I'm telling you guys. So if you have an idea for a clothing line right now, start it this moment. Start it right now. Like pause the video and start working right now, okay? You do not need to have physical product. Just work on your actual brand. Remember, your brand is the first product you need to sell. You need to sell the concept to the people and get them into that. All right? I hope that was helpful for you guys. And as always, if you have any thoughts or any ideas, please leave them in the comment section below. That's it for this episode. Until the next one, guys, I'll catch you later. Peace.